Hello Sprouts, welcome back to the channel. I'm Crimson Clover, and today we have a story from the Am I the A-hole here subreddit titled Am I the A-hole for telling my lesbian ex-wife that her partner cannot be my son's mom? By Reddit user OKCarrot5110. Hi all, throwaway because my friends are not completely aware of this current situation. I, 35 male, was married to my ex-wife, 34 female, for 7 years. 2 years ago, my ex-wife came out as lesbian. This came as a complete shock to me. She and her partner were co-workers who had an affair since she joined the company a year before our divorce. We have a son together, 8 male. This came as a complete shock to me. I was heartbroken and devastated. I felt betrayed as I had spent 7 years of my life with this woman, and it all felt like a lie now. When I confronted her, she told me that she had to live her truth, and that she tried to suppress her identity because she didn't come to terms with it till she met her partner. When I asked whether she loved me, she told me that while she loves me, it's different than how she loved her new partner. This broke my heart even further. The divorce was quick, as she didn't want anything from me, and we agreed to a 50-50 split of custody. But I decided to go into contact with her and handled the custody transfer process through my sister, 27 female, whom I moved in with after the divorce. I sold the house, and we mutually agreed that the excess money from the sale would be in a college fund for our son in the future. I couldn't bear to stay in that house anymore, as it kept reminding me of her betrayal. For context, she introduced her partner as her work friend, and I believed her. I had no reason to suspect anything, and they had several girls' nights, but I figured it was probably using these as a cover for the affair. For 6 months, I was in a depressive state because I didn't know where I went wrong. But this is one of those scenarios that anything I would have done wouldn't have been able to make it better. This made me even more depressed, and the fact that all the vows and little things she said at our wedding were all just lies, trying to keep up a ruse, made it even worse. The 2 people that got me through this state was my sister, who I am eternally grateful for, helping with her nephew and helping me while maintaining her career. The other person that got me through this was my college ex-girlfriend. Around 4 months after the divorce, we reconnected at a reunion, and she really helped through the worst of it as a friend. Around a year after the divorce, we started officially dating, and I introduced her to my son. During all this time, my ex's partner has been having limited contact with my son. This wasn't because of me saying anything, but my ex-wife wanted him to adjust to his new reality. My son is in that weird age that he understands what's going on, but he doesn't really understand what's actually going on. If you know, you know. He understands that mommy has a girlfriend, and that me and his mom aren't together anymore. I'm pretty happy considering we didn't really talk to him about the LGBTQ+ stuff, because I had decided that we can talk about it when he's a bit older, but I'm happy that he's come to terms with the divorce. Hey, good on the kid for not blaming himself for that, I guess. Around 8 months ago, my ex said that she was officially moving in with her partner and that she was engaged. At this point, I was still on no contact except brief conversations that concerned our son. She invited me to the wedding, but I declined. That would have been so awkward. They were planning to have a destination wedding in Spain where her girlfriend lives. She wanted to take our son to the wedding, and he would have to miss school for a week, since she wanted him to meet her girlfriend's family as well. I told her that missing school for a week doesn't make sense, and she should plan her wedding when he has a vacation, since she doesn't have a fixed date yet. She argued that most likely they won't have a date that'll align with his vacation, and that they're getting married as soon as possible. I relented and agreed since I didn't want to interact with her anymore, and it was well within her rights to have her son at her wedding. The problem started when my son came back from the wedding. He was supposed to stay with me since we have a flexible week-in, week-out custody arrangement. She wanted to take my son on her honeymoon so that he had a chance to bond with his new stepmother. I told her that she already had 2 weeks with him since she had custody for a week before the wedding, and that I wanted to spend some father-son time with him. I told her that it was well within my right and that she should go spend some time with her new wife. She argued that since her son's interactions with her partner were limited because of her busy schedule, this was a great opportunity for them to bond. I told her she had 2 weeks for him to get to know her partner. She said that they were busy with the wedding and didn't have time. I told her that I had taken vacation days for us to go to a motorcycle expo and build a Lego set, 2 things my son absolutely loves. She kept arguing, and I finally told her that the custody was placed for a reason. and that's the one thing I will not negotiate on. She got angry at me and left. Me and my son had a great experience. I even got him one of those kid-sized motorcycles, since he liked them so much. Over the next few weeks, we returned back to our week-in, week-out routine. One day, I find that my ex posted a photo shoot of him and my son under the caption of #lesbianmummies. I thought it was a post, and it probably meant nothing, but showing them as a family and something about it didn't sit right with me. When I got my son for the week, I asked him that if his mom was saying anything to him. He relented a bit, but told me that his mother had been trying to convince him to call her partner his mom. This was a shock to me, as I never expected my ex to do this. Then again, I've been wrong about these things before. I asked him if that's something he wanted, and he told me that he is far more comfortable calling her by her first name, and that he feels weird with calling two people mom. I told him it's okay, and that he shouldn't feel pressured to do anything. And this, so true, no matter if you're a cishet couple or a homosexual couple, no matter your orientation, do not force kids to call your new partner mom or dad or parent. Let the kid do what they're comfortable with, especially since he just met his mom's new partner a couple of weeks ago, right? There's no way he has enough of a relationship to even want that immediately. Give it time. Maybe a few years down the road, he will get to know the new partner and will feel comfortable calling her mom. Or a variation of. Alright, back to the Reddit post. I called my ex and asked her to meet up because this was serious and I wanted to discuss it. I confronted her about this, and she told me that since she and her partner were married, it's only natural for our son to have two moms now. I told her that it's not okay for her to try and convince him to call her partner his mom, because she's not his mother. She doesn't have an active parenting role in his life, and that any major parenting decisions require the two of us. She tried making an argument that since me and my girlfriend were becoming serious now, that eventually I might want him to start calling her mom. I told her that even if we become serious, I won't try and convince our son to start calling her mom, because he already has two parents and he doesn't need more. Then she dropped the bombshell on me. She told me that she and her partner were hoping that eventually down the line they can file for adoption. Oh. I'll still be able to visit and see my son, but she wanted her and her wife to have legal guardianship because they wanted to build a new family with them. I told her absolutely not, that our partners have no say in our kids' lives. She accuses me of being homophobic for denying her the right to a complete family. And I told her that while her life is her choice, our son's life has to be a thing that we decide ourselves. I ended the conversation there and told my son to tell me if her mother tried to force him to do anything he doesn't want to do. That is bad. You just want to yoink his son away from him? If you got divorced and he was abusive, then she would have stated that in the divorce, but it seemed to go amicably. So I definitely don't think that's it. And they can adopt other kids that are just theirs. I don't like that. Okay, no, keep reading, Clover, keep reading. 3 weeks later, I found out that my ex had enrolled him in Spanish lessons that he told me he hated doing. For context, my ex is Latin and her partner Spanish, so they're more comfortable talking to each other in Spanish. We made the decision to raise our son in English because it made sense at the time, as she speaks English better than Spanish and I don't speak any Spanish. When I discussed this, she told me that she would like her son to connect more to his heritage. I said that I don't have any problem with that, but we have tried this several times before when we were married, and he has shown zero interest in it. She told me that this time might be different since he'll have 2 Spanish speakers at home. I told her that I'm in all favor of bilingualism, but did I pronounce it right? I'm not sure. Because 2 languages are always an advantage, especially for kids, but if he doesn't want to do it, there's no reason to force him to do it. Maybe try another language? She then accuses me of denying our son his roots and goes on a tirade of accusing me of denying our son his identity and coming back to me denying her right to a family. I think she needs some therapy and that there might be a issue here. My girlfriend usually stays out of these matters, but she advised me to contact my lawyer and see what they can actually do. My lawyer told me that even if they send an adoption notice, I can contest it, and it would take something exceptional like abandonment for my contest to be rejected. My ex keeps posting our son as a part of her new family, and it's honestly started to trigger me. 2 weeks ago, I interacted for the first time with my ex's new wife after the divorce. She contacted me and asked me to meet up. She told me that my ex had finally started to recover from the social trauma of coming out and building a new life with her, and that I'm now getting in the way of their happiness. She accused me of being emotionless and uncaring through the divorce, and how I guilt-tripped her into agreeing to my demands of 50-50 custody. How I should just agree to the eventual adoption in a few years, because she has always wanted a son, and I will still remain my son's dad, and I can still visit him. I told her that I don't care what her emotional state was during the divorce, and that my demands were fair, even to the most irrational person. Have you been on the internet? I told her that if they want to create the image of a perfect family, then they should have another kid that has no connection to me. I feel like this has started to affect my son more than anything. He's a lot less happy than he was just a few months ago, as we started to adjust to this new reality. For context, since I know this is going to come up eventually, the emotional trauma of my ex coming out is basically the fact that her family effectively disowned her after coming out. Her parents don't want to talk to her anymore, while my son has plenty of interactions with his maternal grandparents when he's with me. Those two combined make significantly more money than I do alone. However, my ex-wife makes less money than me, but her partner is in a senior position, so she has more stability. This is also an argument my ex-wife used when we discussed adoption, since they can send our son to a private school and generally give him a better life. I don't know if this is a factor, but the recent elections may have caused this, because they're worried that they might not be able to adopt soon. But they don't want to adopt my son now, but in a few years, so I doubt that this is true. Okay. Before I go to the update, thoughts. Definitely don't force your kids to call someone else a parental role that they don't feel. Don't accuse your partner of denying a child, well, your ex-partner of denying the child, their cultural heritage. If they show no interest in it, just sneak it in subtle ways, right? If they get interested in it down the line, then support them. If your kid doesn't want to learn a language, don't force them to learn that language. Ask them to learn any language. But also, if you're going to be in a household where the two adults speak a language, then you can both just, the ex and her new wife can just speak Spanish in the house. And eventually, if that's how they're talking, the kid will either pick it up through osmosis. 8 is still young enough for that. You know, structure's better, I think, at that age, but he'll still eventually pick it up. But also, if he's the slightest bit of a curious bean, he's got to be like, I wonder what they're saying. I'm going to be sneaky and learn this so they don't, learn this on the side so they don't know that I'm learning what they're saying. I've seen plenty of stories where people knew a language and didn't tell anyone, and then they were able to catch people talking badly about them. Some comments. Different tip 2721. Honestly, I get that she wants to build a life with her partner, but your son isn't a prop in their history. It's his life, his identity, his comfort that should come first. She can't force him to call her partner mom, or try to change everything for her new family. You're just trying to protect your son from being pressured into things that he doesn't want. You're doing the right thing, even if it's hard. Existing Natural says, not the a-hole. Your ex is trying to erase you from your son's life. Document this as much as possible in case they do attempt to file for adoption. You'll have proof that they're just trying to push you out for their own benefit. I would also get your son in therapy, if possible. It must be so uncomfortable and difficult for him. Also, as lesbian, you're not being homophobic. Your ex and her wife are cooked and need to touch grass. Cooked and trying to touch... Well, I get the touching grass bit, but what's your wife are cooked? Night Tiger replies to your ex is trying to race you with, she's also preparing for parental kidnapping, with the mommy naming Spanish lessons and adoption. Her affair partner lives in Spain. Oh, I didn't consider that. Next, they'll want a travel waiver with State Department. No pay will never see the kid again. Vacation will be an excuse. False Dimension replies to that with this. When he mentioned that the new wife lives in Spain and that's where they were getting married, alarm bells started going off. OP, do not give your ex permission to take him out of the States again. You may never get him back. Fat Roger says, also, just in case the son needs to know how to contact the U.S. Embassy and explain the situation. That's a good point. I didn't consider learning how to contact an embassy. Exciting Table says, OP will want to talk to his lawyer. It's possible to get children added to the list to make it harder to take them out of the country without the permission of both partners. The correct department is the Department of State Office of Children's Issues, which you can reach by calling 188-407-4747 from the United States or Canada, or 1-202-501-4444 from outside the U.S. Talk to a lawyer first unless it's an active emergency. If your kid doesn't already have a passport, reach out to Children's Passport Assurance Issuance Alert Program, CPIAP. My goodness, I don't know why that was so hard to say. If your kid does have a passport, ask lawyer to petition for passport to be held by yourself or by the court. If your ex takes your kid out of the country illegally, contact your local FBI field office. Normally, I'm all for kids learning other languages, but yeah, quashing that due to flight risk and alienation sounds like a good idea. Court may or may not go for it, but it's worth trying. Being proactive is a good idea here. If your kid does get taken out of the country illegally, getting him back would be difficult, expensive, and time-consuming. Especially since the affair partner, and now wife, has a high-paying job in her country. Taking preventative measures isn't a lot cheaper. It is tricky, but it's up to you if you want to teach your son to tell TSA if he's being taken out of the country without you knowing. By 10 or 12, you absolutely want to do that. No Use reprises us with, this is actually a good idea. Make sure the kid knows his rights. All he has to do is tell TSA he's not willingly going, and that they're breaking a custody agreement by taking him. It'll tie them up at the airport long enough for OP to be contacted and involve the feds. Those are all good points. I also say that parental alienation is a thing. So, the ex trying to get the kid to call her wife mom could also be considered an attempt at parental alienation. But also saying that if he marries his girlfriend, that the current girlfriend and the new wife have no say in the kid's upbringing. Like, that is something that's a little tricky to navigate, but you gotta have some rights within your own home to discipline the kids and discuss decisions. Like, I wish they could have a good co-parenting relationship. But if he's not talking to her in person, unless he absolutely has to, I have heard that there are apps for this. Use the apps. I hope someone recommended that. The first few comments I saw did not say anything about the apps. But there are parenting apps. Co-parenting apps. Use the apps. And I'm going to move over to the first update. Hi all, it seems that my draft went missing somehow, and I'm sorry for posting a couple of empty blocks. It's been crazy seeing everyone's reactions to the situation, and I wanted to share a quick update with you all. First of all, I'd like to clarify that my son and I have been going to therapy since the divorce. Good. I am happy for that. He was doing quite well until the whole mom saga happened. My in-laws disowned her after she came out. They weren't even aware about the affair when she came out to them. They still spend time with my grandsons under the condition that they don't badmouth my ex and don't preach their views to him. They agreed and said that they valued their relationship with their grandson over any political view they might hold. I have been to a part of every interaction that they've had with him because I was worried they might say something. Thankfully, this hasn't been the case. Her extended family have said to me that they have all cut her off as well, some for the affair and some for her being gay. Okay, I don't like that she got kicked out for being gay. Or disowned, not kicked out really. Clearly, she took so long to come out because she was afraid of this. And with the extended family saying that they're cutting her off as well, she had a right to be worried about that. but others cutting her off for the affair. Yeah, that's more reasonable. As I say, if someone's willing to cheat on you, no, that's not right. If they're willing to cheat with you, then they might eventually cheat on you. Now, I hope that her relationship is steady, that she doesn't cheat on her new partner. But I'm not really going to hold my breath on that one. Our mutual friends also cut her off because of the affair. All our mutual friends were my work buddies and their spouses and partners. I didn't ask them to do anything. They came to the decision on their own. I was actually glad when she told me that she had made a friend on her own, as she used to complain about not liking her colleagues. We all know how that turned out. So wait, did she cheat with like the singular colleague that she liked or that liked her back? Oh, that's some unfortunate social isolation. Words, Clover, do not make up the words. I'm pretty sure they're not planning to skip the country. I have all my son's documents, and we decided it during the divorce because she was still figuring out where to go, and since she was moving in with my sister, the chances of them getting misplaced were low. I have also had no demands for any documents, and she returned the passport to me when we came back. The whole adoption thing probably stems from the fact that my son has a very close relationship with his mother. The only time he has really complained to me is when she asked him to call her partner mom, and that she was making him do Spanish classes as he didn't want. We did everything for him equally during our marriage, but I had to travel out of state to my parents frequently during COVID because they were sick with pre-existing conditions and couldn't take care of themselves. My sister was on an assignment abroad at the time. My sister also agreed with this. Please let me know your thoughts. I listened to people and contacted my lawyer, who was also my friend, this morning. He told me that the same thing as last time and that it would take something really unusual for the adoption process to go through, like child abandonment. He also said that they are a bunch of idiots that have no idea how the law works. He also told me that if the whole "we want to adopt him" is a real thing, and if she is talking shit about me to my son and I could prove it, I could get full custody. This hasn't been the case, as I have not heard my son say that his mom say bad things about me. This brought me a sigh of relief. I plan to contact my ex today with the following conditions. 1. We both install parenting apps and document all our interactions. Good, I agree with this. 2. No more mention to me or my son regarding adoption or calling her partner mom. 3. No more posting images of my son as part of their perfect family, because frankly, I don't want my son's photos on the internet where he is so young and he can decide what he wants when he's older. I plan to talk to my ex in a couple of hours. Please let me know what you all think about this. Okay. I am glad that OP was not bad-mouthing his ex in front of the kid. I'm glad that he was sitting in on visits with the grandparents so that they wouldn't badmouth the mom in front of the kid. I'm glad the grandparents were prioritizing the relationship with the grandson. A little sad for the ex that she had no friends to fall back on. Like, maybe if she had a greater support network, they could have worked through these issues before she got to cheating. But I guess we'll never know. Sunilessa says in the comments, I would make it clear that the son has expressed discomfort over calling the new wife mom, and that you think forcing it will severely damage his relationship with both women. Tell her that if he was to one day decide to call the new wife mom completely on his own, you won't make a big deal out of it, but relationships can't be forced, and they are risking permanently damaging theirs. I would also tell the ex that you'll try to encourage the Spanish lessons with your son, maybe even try to learn it with him, simply because being bilingual is a good thing. No pressure, but more trying to make it seem fun and exciting. Have it as a good solid try for a month or two. And if that doesn't work, then she is to stop forcing it because this will only breed more resentment. Good luck. I like that option. Yeah, offer to learn the language with him if it'll make him happier. I still think, if you just want your kid to be bilingual, offer to let them learn whatever language they want. Beth21286 says, don't make it kiddo's decision to call her mom now. That is going to make them pressure him to say it's his choice. Make it clear that it's a decision for him as an adult. Dr. Ferdstein says this: I have seen 2 stepdad situations, dated women with kids from prior relationships but no marriage, and I've always told the kids that they could call me by my first name or we could brainstorm a different term of endearment, as both of them still had their fathers in their lives, so they didn't need a dad. I know this woman is seeking validation, especially in the face of being disowned, at least in part, over her sexuality, but forcing a title on a step-parent is wrong. Straight or gay, her happy family vibe is being forced on her kid, who clearly has some discomfort with it. She needs to work on the actual family part of it, not just focus on the aesthetics of it. Have her son spend more time with her wife and cultivate a positive relationship. If the son calls her mom because he wants to, cool. If not, you still have a great relationship with your partner's kid. Yeah, I like that. And if the ex is saying that her son can't build a good enough relationship with the new partner because of distance and work and stuff, that's what the internet is for. That's what face chat and voice calls are for. You can still sit and get to know each other. It's not as good as an in-person, but you can still do it. You just have to be willing to make the effort. And I'm going to go over now to the final update. Do we believe this is really going to be the final update? We can hope. Hi all. So I talked to my ex today. She was busy yesterday, and I wanted some more time to gather my thoughts. When we met, I put forth my demands. She told me that the parenting app idea seems fine, and that she has no problems with it. She got sad when I told her to drop the idea of adoption and calling her partner mom. This is just not going to happen. She told me that her family was pressuring her to settle down. I proposed after a year of dating, and I didn't know this. And getting pregnant so soon after getting married was not what she had in mind. She got pregnant a year and a half into getting married. Is that soon? I don't know. I mean, it can be soon. It depends on the couple. She told me she was in the closet all her life because of her parents, and that she thought marrying me would cause her feelings to subside, and that she was happy until she met her partner. She did go through postpartum depression after giving birth, but I didn't know that, and she didn't want to get pregnant so soon. She then told me that they, her wife and her, that the reason they wanted to adopt my son was because she wanted to start new. She then said that she was never happy during her marriage, and that with her new wife she could have the family she always dreamt of having. Wait, what? But she said earlier that she was happy until she met her partner. She didn't want my son to grow up to resent her being a lesbian, so he doesn't have the... She didn't want my son to grow up to resent her for being a lesbian, as he doesn't have any exposure to people like her apart from her and her partner. Look, I have to be honest here, I don't know any gay people, nor anyone in my friends or family is gay. We never talked about these things because it simply doesn't come up in our daily life. But that doesn't mean me and my son have no idea who they are, especially after the divorce. Again, that's what the internet is for. I told her that this isn't going to happen, and that he has had a lot of exposure to people from her community. I told her that seems like a bullshit reason for separating my son and me, and that she's making up some random reason to make her seem like it is. After some arguing, she told me the real reason why she and her partner wants to adopt my son. Reddit is crazy for your production abilities, like honestly, wow. Apparently, they wanted to adopt my son because her wife and her are considering moving to Spain in a few years. Then, why is the adoption in a few years? Why didn't they want to adopt him, like, as immediately as possible? I told her she can't do that, and that the legal framework supports me and my rights in both countries. She told me she knew this, and that's why they wanted to get me to sign up the adoption. I told her she's crazy, that she in no way is able to do this, as she still needs my permission to take him out of the country, as one she did when they got married in Spain. I also read a comment yesterday on the update and researched a bit on laws regarding this, so I know this isn't happening. She told me again that they have done their research, that this is to see if I would agree. In case I agreed, they would consider moving, and in case I don't, they won't, because she doesn't want to be separated from my son. I again emphasized that this isn't going to happen, and that if she tries anything or says anything to my son, I will sue for full custody. She got sad again and told me that they wanted to check with me first. I told her, in what world would you expect me to give you and your wife full custody? First you divorced me, leave me for a woman, and then expect me to sign over my child and act like nothing happened? I would have reordered how that was phrased. Like, first you cheat on me, then you leave me for your affair partner, then we get divorced. I told her from this point on we will document everything, every interaction we have, and that if I even get a whiff of you trying to pull something, I will sue for full custody. She got a bit scared at the idea of losing full custody. I guess she didn't really consider me doing that, and she agreed. I then told her not to paint this picture of a picture-perfect queer family, in quotation marks, that they are trying to do, because it's not going to happen. Our son has a mom and a dad that he spends half his time with each, not two moms. Well, not yet. He may eventually come to agree to having two moms. And a mom. Okay. If he gets equally attached to both families, he will technically then have three moms and a dad. But that has to be his choice. He is not your affair partner's son. He is your son and mine. If you want a child with her, you can do so on your own. I then told her that the courts are more likely to side with me than you in this case, because of the thing you've been trying to do, and the fact that I work from home and spend more actual time with him than you and your wife. I've been trying for him to have a stable relationship with both parents since the divorce, because I don't want him to resent either of us. But if you try to remove me from his life, I will sue for full custody and deal with the resentment he has for either of us. I didn't want to argue anymore, and I left the room. I secretly recorded the conversation because I wanted to have proof in case of anything happens in the future. Could be illegal. Could be legal. Depends on whether or not their state is a one-party consent state or not. Honestly, Reddit, I've been very angry at my ex since the divorce. I haven't shown it around her and my son because I don't want her to use this against me in any way, and I've been going to therapy, but I am still internally angry. The comments she made today about our marriage really hurt me even more. I spent 7 years with this woman, and her betrayal still makes me angry to this day. When I got home, I contacted my lawyer friend, and he again reiterated that they would have to kidnap him. I asked him if there was anything else we could do, and he said that the current agreement is very thorough. We've made sure of it. If I want full custody or not is up to me, but I have to be sure that I want to put me and my son through the whole process. I don't want my son to grow up without either of his parents, as that's just not healthy for him. That's why I won't sue for full custody now. If they're stupid enough to kidnap him, I'm sure that they're not. Then the laws side with me anyway. I know what position her partner is at their workplace, so I know they make good money. To leave it all behind for no good reason. As for the passport thing, I have all his documents, and all things such as notifying travel, hospital visits, and other things are already in the signed custody agreement. We already have a legal framework for all of this. I'm not going to sue for custody now because I don't want that for my son. My ex-wife is still a good mother and loves him, and he enjoys spending time with her. Plus, my son is the type of person to openly voice out that he doesn't find okay to me. So I will know if they continue with their nonsense. On a more positive note, y'all, I'm not against Spanish lessons, but he doesn't like them. I was just suggesting that he try some language he does like. There are other languages out there. I didn't say it to my ex then, but now I know that she was trying for him to learn Spanish because of the Spain thing. Thank you to everyone for their support. Really helped me with understanding the problem. Holy shit though, I didn't even consider her considering moving to Spain until I read the comments. Y'all are great at this. Reddit can be good for things like that. Alright. Thoughts. Do we have new thoughts? It would be really terrifying for your ex-partner to go, hey, we want to go on this vacation. It's my week to have him. Can we go on vacation? And you go like, oh yeah, sure. I want you to have a good relationship. And then they never come back. I know. I don't know. I don't know anything about the Spanish legal system. So I couldn't say whether or not they could like sort of disappear into the country. I don't know what extradition they have. But even so, that would be hugely traumatizing to the kid. So hopefully she thought that bit through. Like, hey, this is gonna traumatize my kid. Maybe I shouldn't just go poof into a new country with him. And I'm going to go through the comments now. Also, I am not entirely sure that this will be the last update. Maybe down the line we'll see more, like, oh no, my ex actually ran off with the kid. Or she tried suing for full custody so that her new partner can adopt the kid. Forever Forgettable says, you could notify Customs and Border Protection of the potential threat your ex-wife and her new wife pose with regards to taking your son internationally. It's called the Customs and Border Protection Prevent Abduction Program. If you Google it, you will find links to a description of the program. It would basically put CBP on alert if ever your child is attempting to board an international flight. CBP monitoring passenger information is real-time and would be alerted if CBP would be immediately informed by the computer system. They would notify the Department of State and appropriate CBP authorities wherever your son may be to prevent his departure. I gotta say, my mind kept wanting to switch the letters around. I don't like that. And this is yet another program of people you can inform. Cat Good says, OP this right here, because once they're out of the country, getting him back is extremely difficult. I mean, it can be difficult getting people back across state lines, let alone an entire other country. Cicada Noise says, I hope OP sees this. He needs to protect himself and his kid. The ex will do what she wants regardless of legality or what's best for the kid. He should also sue for full custody because the entire situation's insane and this woman is obviously not in her right mind. I would ask the kid if he was comfortable with that. I'm not sure at 8 he has enough emotional and mental maturity to know whether or not this is good for him. I know the courts take the opinions of teenagers into consideration. Still. Spirit Oft G says, Tenbeck's ex-wife and her partner will try to pull another stunt in the foreseeable future. I still hope it won't be the case, but after trying to toss OP aside and steal his parents' rights, I don't trust any word the ex says. Initial Sales says, trying to push the actual parent out of the picture is a red flag. OP's ex and her partner seem like they've got another agenda. Midek replies, it's parental alienation and OP's ex is a fool. How would she feel if OP got married to another woman and asked her to terminate her parental rights in order for the child to be adopted by his stepmother and they could move away? She would likely be livid. Okay, I think that's enough of the comment section. It's just giving me more to worry about for this poor kid. I'm glad this is not a situation I've ever had to personally be worried about. Like, I'm sorry that OP got cheated on. I'm sorry that OP's wife felt so afraid of her parents that she hid it for years and ended up in a serious relationship that she didn't want. I really wish she'd had the emotional maturity, though, to break it off before she cheated. That is just... that's just the worst. And I say that for any relationship, no matter your orientation. If you're going to cheat on your partner, just take a step back. Go, okay. This is the thing I want to do. Why do I want to do it? I should probably break it off with my partner so I don't hurt them. So I don't hurt myself. Because if you get caught, there's going to be social stigma. You know, messy. I suppose if someone's going to cheat and then try to work out the relationship, but there's never going to be the trust there again. I wish the new partner for the ex-wife had, like, hey, let's sit down and have a discussion. I'm sorry that this hurt you. How can I be a part of your co-parenting relationship? Because until that one thing was she saying, hey, we want to learn Spanish and maybe move to Spain and adopt the kid. It seems like the ex-wife's partner did not reach out. And I understand, right? The OP was like, I'm no contact with the ex-wife. why would you be in contact with the ex-wife's affair partner? But once they decided to get married, somebody should have sat down and gone, okay, we need to discuss the custody arrangement again and how having a new partner in your life is going to affect that. Anyway, good luck, OP. Best of luck for the kiddo. I hope the therapy goes back to helping. I hope nobody gets kidnapped. And that's where I'm going to call things for today. Bit of a long one. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll catch you in another video. Bye-bye!